Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 100. Yes, 100 of 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. And many of you I know recognize my service hero today. We have Riddell Gina Mackey.
Hi.
Riddell is, let me tell you about Riddell. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. First of all, I met her a while ago, and then we had an opportunity to really bond and get to know each other. And I've kind of adopted this person into my life. I just absolutely love her. We really do have a synergy. And the thing about this young lady, this amazing young intellectual, she has everything going for her. She is also a survivor. She battled some major gnarly stuff in her life, and she has overcome it. She has taken it by its tail, swinging it around, and told it to get out of town, and done it in such a classy way that she not only has affected her life, but she's affected so many others' lives. And for that, I just absolutely adore you for that. I see you as such a service hero. I am so proud to introduce you, my friend. Meet Riddell, everyone.
You're going to make me cry. I'm like, don't cry.
Well, it's something when you hear your life being honestly, portrayed by someone else that really cares. And that's who I am and who you are. And you're welcome. You're welcome. And so let's talk, okay?
All right, we're talking.
Let's tell everybody, first of all, you had such an interesting life. and to know you is to understand that. And why don't we kind of like start from, let's see, maybe school years? Because my gosh, who has had the experiences that you've had, right?
So I have to see about the only person whose life is pretty adventurous as mine might be Freddie Beheen.
That's true. Wow. What a comparison, the two of you. And that is true.
But, I guess at the beginning is, my lovely, phenomenal mother fell in love with, a man of service. And I didn't really get to meet him until he came home. I was almost 5. And when she, we came to America from Guadalajara, she got addicted to heroin and meth and crack. And during that addiction trial, she was an abusive addict. And so I essentially was in a hospital many times before my 5th birthday. Right. And my father was not okay with that. He ended up getting full custody. And from there, my journey kind of began overseas. Went to school in Germany, as well as in Geneva, Switzerland. And for about 10 years, my mom wasn't in my life.
Right.
And what's crazy about all of that is, you would think that would have, there you go. Did I lose you? Anyway, sorry. But you would think that would have done a lot of, traumatic, had a lot of traumatic effects on me, and it did. Disassociation, depression, anger, anxiety, fear, really closed off. And as many as you know, I'm the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know when to shut up, And so
part of your charm.
I came home and I left the oldest of 3, and I came home the oldest of 5. And there was 2 of them that I'd never met. And it was very difficult because in that house, I endured rape, I endured abuse, I endured a lot of pain. And, it was difficult. It was very difficult. It's the easiest way to put it. It was difficult.
Right.
So moving forward from that, I went back into college. I had a lot of degrees already. Went back for business.
Oh, okay. Wait. So they understand, how old were you when you got your first degree?
Well, you have to understand. So the educational curriculum of Europe compared to America is day and night. So I went to a specialty school for sociology, which in sociology comes philosophy, psychology, and religion. So I came here with more curricular achievements and higher advanced knowledge than a bachelor's degree in all four of those fields.
Right.
So, I'm 16 with 4 degrees.
Right. That's what I wanted you to highlight. It's not only just that you came from, apples to oranges, but when you put curriculum next to each other and then your age, you were able to not only get through what would be considered secondary school or high school, you went on to like college prepared classes, graduated in, if you will, 4 different curriculums at the age of 16. Yeah. That's what I wanted people to understand. Yeah.
Like I said, I always ask my father when I see him, like, is it legal, the American education system? Okay. But I ended up, even during the rape and the abuse that I endured, I actually went and attended Humphreys University of Business Law. It's a private outreach of University Pacific. And I got my business, legal, as well as accounting degree there by the age of 18. And this is kind of when things got interesting, because, you would think it's already interesting enough, but, here's this girl of many ethnicity, that's, darker skin complected, but I spoke like 5 different languages, and it was like.
Right. That's right. That's another part. Yes.
No identity, it's completely, you're just in shock. You're in complete shock. And I didn't know what slang was. And this was even funnier because anyone who knows anything about Stockton, California, there's a lot of violence. And I'm not white, so,
no, I lived there for a little bit. Yeah, no, I know it. Right.
Sadly, it is a community of ethnic individuals whom, they have a lot of trials and tribulations. And I did not fit in. I didn't fit in anywhere. And here, my mom doesn't come to my graduation. She's coming down off of crack. Meth, probably she wouldn't have reacted the way she did, but it happened to be crack, and she beat the living life out of me with an object that we're not to go into that. And I ended up in the hospital.
Right.
Doctors go, you have 7 days to live, and I'm thinking, what the heck are you talking about? Like
right.
Internal damage.
This is important, and I want to be able to recognize a few people here. I was trying to, and I do not want to overlook what you're about to say, but I want to recognize some of the people and let you know that they're here. Yeah. We've got EJ Johnson. He is he's like, hey Riddell, and we have Sharon, who is one of our Chemo Buddy ambassadors, and she's really been all about your story, and so. Okay, so now we've taken a break because your story, this gets even bigger. Okay, so you're in the hospital. You've been reunited with your mother. You get beaten up really badly.
Yeah.
And then you come to, and and then you hear these words.
And she goes, sweetheart, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't give you longer than a week to live. And I'm thinking, there's no internal bleeding. There's what are you talking about? She goes, you have stage 2 ovarian, stage 3 thyroid cancer. Now, I had been throwing up blood for a couple of months prior, but essentially because of all the abuse that I endured, I thought that it was the effect of that.
Right.
And little did I realize that it was absolutely cancerous.
Right.
So at this
point, has been traumatized. I want this to be brought in too, because your body was already traumatized, and then you had this cancer added to a severely traumatized body that hadn't had a chance to heal itself over a period of time. And because some people listening to this may say, oh, stage 2 and stage 3, what do you mean? But in combination of all of it, you were looking, your doctors were very concerned about you.
Well, I mean, and essentially the problem is, and as everyone knows with cancer, it's going to attack stressful areas. I was literally beaten to a pulp. I mean, it was very bad. And now you've got the cancer involved. It's spreading rapidly. I've got it in 2 different completely locations that centrally have nothing in congruence with one another. So now I'm at high risk of it going in multiple areas. And now we're talking about, your organs, and it just, there was so much. Now, my mentor, Brian Fott, and if there's anything any of you guys ever look into or study, there's 2 people. Brian Fott, the man that got me into multi-level marketing, which was kind of the start of my success in life at such a young age. I read a book, and the book that he had me read was What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And in that book, when you're dying, you have this, you literally have moments where you can see yourself looking at your dead body. And I did. And I remember calling him, and I'm crying, and he owns the patent Just Do the Right Thing, curriculum that teaches people morals and principles. And he used to call me every day, and we'd go over all of that together. He essentially saved my life. But as I'm reading this book, and the last time I remember literally seeing my dead body, I go, I'm going to die. So I at least want to visualize and fixate on the life I wish I had, because I'd never experienced a long duration of happiness, since I was 5 years old.
Right, right.
I was just done. I was just done. Financially supported everybody, went to school, nobody cared, was abused. It was like, what am I doing? Why am I even alive? I don't even know who I am. And in my own head, I kept my head in the clouds. And I went back to being in Disneyland, as people will call it. And I fixated on this beautiful girl or woman that I always wanted to be. This woman that was in leadership, kind of like her dad. And this woman that people like to follow, and this servant, because I just, for some reason, my whole life have always wanted to serve. I think it's right. I don't know what it is, but
well, I would just put it before you that, again, like your dad, people, you haven't really shared what and who your dad is and what he does.
25 years frontline infantry, never left. And that's, he has a beautiful saying. He goes, my little one, a real leader will walk in the trench every day for a purpose and for a meaning that is his entire life. And he doesn't care if anyone's behind him. Mm-hmm. But when you lead that intensely and that passionately, there'll come a moment when, as a soldier, you look over your shoulder and you'll see an army behind you. Right. And that's exactly what it was. And in that hospital, I don't know if many of you understand or know this, but there are parents who abandon their kids when they're terminally ill.
Yeah.
And there's this horrible place that they put us, where we're left to die. There were 14 of us there, and 12 of us, because of that book, because I understood neuroplasticity to a very minuscule degree, 12 of us are still alive to this day.
And that's where it started, right?
That was kind of the starting pinnacle.
Yeah.
A little girl, the day that I wanted to just give up, a little girl said, Riddell, because you decide to live, so will we. And it was no longer about me.
That's right.
It was no longer about how horrible my life was. It was no longer about the struggle and the pain. It had everything to do with them. And it's, it's crazy, because you would think, why? And I got to a point where it didn't matter that I didn't understand why. It mattered that I kept living.
That's right. That is right.
I did. And I got bored in the hospital, and everyone laughs at me because then I enrolled back in school during the, as I'm going through the 9 months that I was there, I went to school online, I got out, and I got out to be homeless, and it was tough. It was really tough. And I was homeless with my uncle, and we saved and saved and saved and saved everything. And I took care of my family still, even though I had nowhere to live. I just lived in a van. It's funny because I opened my LLC during this. This is kind of where everything started. And open and I'm running my own company, and nobody knows. Nobody has any idea that I shower at the gym, I get dressed at the gym, you know, and you could not tell. And there came a point when I was able to, you know, I was able to own a piece of property. I was able to put down the money, not only for a piece of property, but I kid you not, to afford a visa to bring people from Mexico, laugh at me if you want, and have our house built. It was cheaper to pay them than to buy a house in California. I'm so serious. Okay.
Okay, so I want to highlight this about you that I have noticed in getting to know you, my dear, is that you have an incredible brain. Not only you're intelligent, but you have a real mechanical brain in making things happen and making common sense decisions. And that's a hard combination sometimes. And so let's get into this. I want to get into, I mean, you right now, even what you've done here in your stories, you scream service hero, but I know there's so much more. I want to kind of, let's go to some of the things that I have some pictures that I've pulled, and I want to tell your story through some pictures now. And I'm going to start with one that I just absolutely adore that I found. It's so you.
Wounded warriors. Yeah, I have the honors. Danny Torres, a very well respected and loved speaker of Tony Robbins, has come into my life. Thank you, Alex Guillen, for that connection. And he is a part of the Alpha One Instinct, and it is an organization that puts together events to help veterans make that transition from military to civilian life.
Right.
And it's understanding that even though they're in trauma and there's turmoil and there's pain and there's, you know, adversity and so on and so forth, you know, that military mindset, even when wounded, never leaves.
Right.
And so it was to educate the civilian life exactly what a soldier mindset looks like and what it means, but it also was to conjoin and have a collaboration of the civilian and the military. It was absolutely amazing to watch Jason Cisneros do an extraction with some hardcore Black Ops. That was the funniest thing in the world because
oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Oh wow.
People say this. Jason essentially does not give a flying whoop, and nothing literally puts him on his ass. Excuse my language. He had it handed to him. It was amazing. You know,
that just is looks. I mean, that seems like so much fun. All right, so you know, you actually have a nonprofit that supports the vets. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Project Impact is something that I do. It's very private. It's you know, I've got a lot of doctors and a lot of very successful individuals whom I'll have to keep anonymous. Right. What we've done during my PhD program is we've taken 300 military vets that were traumatized and diagnosed with PTSD. 284 of them we were able to reprogram and re-trigger the trigger. And essentially, it's really simple. And, you know, any pharmaceutical companies that continue to want to come after me, bring it, you know. But it's very simple. And it's the concept of, number one, the first problem with trauma is identity. You don't understand who you are because you've been shattered and broken so many times. In the world of psychology, I have a master's in it, so I can debunk it however my heart desires. In psychology, essentially, people are told that their identity is sculpted and defined by their past experiences, the you know, community in which it is, you know, that human is involved or surrounded by, and their future is dictated by these stereotypes that rightfully so have been implemented, but have kind of hindered people from growing past. Now, philosophy is essentially the concept of enlightenment. Mm-hmm. Okay? And what a philosopher does essentially is yes, they tell you they look to understand things and to perceive things from a different moment. So what we've done is we've walked in and we've simply asked them, describe to me what your identity is. What is define your identity? And nobody can, because they'll tell me, well, my identity is my race, or it's my name, or it's whatever the case might be. And then essentially the question is, fantastic. Now, was that because you made a decision to be defined by that, or is that what society told you you're defined by?
Right.
There's this silent, like every single time it goes mute. And we start to realize the negative self-talk that we start saying to ourselves. And that's why the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, and The Power of Neuroplasticity essentially was the pinnacle linear that saved my life. Like the moving point of my life were those two books by Shad Helmstetter. And I started to understand that they did not understand that they could literally create who they desired to be. Mm-hmm. Before a vet goes into the military, they're completely different. They're normally, brats. That's why I'm not in the military. Like
let's just say what you think, Riddell.
They're very patriotic with the many generations of service, or you literally have some disciplinary issues and you're a brat.
Right. Yeah. No, I've known both types. That's why. I mean, I was born and raised in San Diego. Need I say more?
And that's why they call the Army, the leftovers, and the Marines the crazy ones. It's true, but
you love them anyway.
I do. Very few people are willing to leave their home. The is this: they desire to leave their home without any sort of regret,
right?
To put their life on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially to come home fully aware that there may not be a home to come home to, but it was worth dying for. Blow your mind. I don't care what your issues are. That's honorable, and so what we were able to do is we've taken these veterans that had PTSD, and we help them understand that there's a blank canvas that sits right in front of them. And, oh, hi, Jason. There's a blank canvas that sits right in front of these veterans. And the moment that they shut off all the noise, and the moment that they stop, as even Jason likes to say, going back into this dark light to pull other people out, the moment that they just figure out who they are, they essentially are able to create exactly the person that they've always dreamed of being.
Yes. People
don't understand that upon being aware of what you've gone through, and a part of accepting that life sucks, you're going to go through some pretty gnarly shit. My language. Like everybody, I don't care if it's from running your dog getting hit by a car or you essentially, like myself, going through so much, rape and abuse and being completely thrown away. Everyone goes through something, but that isn't what defines you. It's your final decision of who you are that defines you. And when people understand that they have an ability to perceive their trauma as a blessing from God, this entirely different person that they look at when they look in the mirror changes. I wouldn't take back anything, because besides abduction, there isn't one thing I have not endured and I have not been subjected to. And because of this, and because of the change of perspective, I took 8 months off to go to 17 different states and share with kids that were in the same situation as me how I got out and that it was possible.
That's right. That's right. You did.
It was the most amazing thing in the world to look these kids in the eyes and say, I completely understand. Like, I've been there. And you know what? It's possible to get out. And that's what I'm here to do. And to come home, this mission, this was the reason my mom went sober. Because essentially, for her to see that everything she went through and everything she put me through meant something. I mean, there were hundreds of kids' lives that were changed. I mean, we had increases of schooling, enrollment. We had less kids dropping out, and all it took was just to say, I've been there and I completely understand, but look at the difference. Look at, you're alive. You survived it. Just like the military, you're a soldier, and yes, you're in pain and it hurts so bad. It really does, but you just need to take one more step. Just one more step, just one more step. Just keep taking one more step and understand that who you are right now, it's not who you designed. It's who society designed. And you can scrap that so fast, and you can get a blank canvas and you can paint the person that you've dreamed of being. And that's the person that I've been so blessed by God to be able to become. And I've went from, my company was me and 8 other people, and there's 21 of us now, and they're all millennials.
I love that. In fact, I want to transition into that right now. In fact, okay, I pulled some pictures from how you kind of got there. So tell us about all of this, and then we're going to go into the next phase. I love these. I have to say they're some of my favorites,
Elon Musk would love this. Yeah. Yeah, no, I was bred from door to door. I started with Kirby, and I was that cute person in Costco that would pitch you direct TV. I kid you not, that was me.
You started with whatever you could get, and everything you did, you rose to the top.
Yeah.
And that's the message too that I want people to hear, because you didn't look at anything and say, oh, I can't sell. This was what solar. Yeah. So I can't sell solar. No, you're up on the roof. And then you do all these different things, and now you are, I mean, you're at a point where you're often on the red carpets, and many times your companies are the ones that are on the media walls.
Yeah.
And you are invited by the who's to be there to show up, and then everybody knows and loves you because you have worked really hard, and you have not like when you were talking about this, you said, I want to talk about my team. And I'm like, absolutely. Because it is not only you not only, and this is the thing that you didn't really, I want to really emphasize. You take a breath, take a glass of water. Okay. But I want to emphasize that during some of the trials, you still paid for your family to basically live. You were working some of these multiple jobs before you kind of got some of your businesses off the ground, so that you could pay for your brothers to go to school, right? And
4 have graduated college and their tuition's covered.
Right.
University of Georgia, the other one Stanford. Right now, Jeremiah is attending the the JV of Julia Arts, their junior college. And Mark Anthony is all club sports. He doesn't want to go to college, but he's in private school. So, yeah.
And you've done this for your family. You have done this for your siblings. And these are the siblings from your mother, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And that right there, I want people to get this, because sometimes when you've been in an environment where there has been abuse, you just want to walk away and you don't want to be there. And it doesn't matter who is involved. It was the abuser, but those people in the collateral damage, as they say, oftentimes are forgotten. And you not only forgave your mother, you've been helping your mother, and you've been helping your siblings. And look at what the results of this is. I mean, so that right there.
No man left behind. I try. My father is the most important person in this world to me, and he always will be. He always has been, and no matter what the circumstances are, he embedded in me from the moment I met him at 4 years old, 7 months. It was from till the day that I've last seen him and been able to see him. He's really embedded inside of me what family means. And I told my father that because he gave his entire life to serve so that I could be here, that I would serve people in which gave me an opportunity. And servicehood, brotherhood is so important. And I wish people really understood.
Right.
Nobody is self-made. Anybody who claims to be self-made is so full of shit. Excuse my language. Yeah. Nobody is self-made. 100%. I'm not, Brian. I am literally a product of Tammy Kling and Brian Fott and Jason Cisneros and Timothy R. Johnson and Greg Reed and it doesn't matter, and these people in these moments in my life and the individuals who've come, my professors that believed in me when I never believed, Arturo, it just, brotherhood is very important. And when you never forget where you come from and who is family and why you're fighting and what you're fighting for, you don't have to try to climb Mount Everest alone. Essentially, you end up having an entire army right behind you when you look over your shoulder. And right. And it's the most comforting thing in the world. I don't think I could abandon anybody, no matter what they've done to me, because I know what it's like to be there. And I know how good it feels to be loved and for someone to say, I care about you. So,
I can say that without hesitation. From the moment that we really got to know each other and bond, I have loved you beyond love, and you know, I'm just so thrilled you are in my life and in my world, and I'm so thrilled that we are. And then I'm so thrilled that you are now, my dear service hero, number 100. I know. And you know what? I was talking to one of our recipients of a major award this coming Saturday, and he was talking about this whole thing because it's relatively new. And he was like, why hadn't anybody thought about this before? And I was like, I don't know. But you know what? The whole idea here is that there are so many good people. And the bad news, yes, it's been getting a lot of press, if you will, lately, but it's up to us. Yeah, I don't either. But too many people are, and they were starting to get down, and that's what I was noticing. And in particular, my nonprofit, the Buddies, you know, the Chemo Buddies for Life, they were starting to get down, and it was like, you know what? No, this is over. There's too many amazing people like you, Riddell. There's too many amazing people out there that are doing so many good things that we need to recognize this. We need to share it, and then it will keep going. And if we continue to think about serving each other like you have been, like your father's example, that going through that trench, you know, I love that story. Going through that trench, and you don't know if you feel alone, but you look around you
or whatever, you just go.
Yeah, just do it, because that's where your heart is called. That's where you're called to serve, and you do it without condition, and you do it with all of your being.
Todd Special says something really, really amazing. Don't do something with the expectation of something in return.
Absolutely.
And I think in society we have this. I'm gonna bring Jim Rohn back from the dead for a little bit. You know, you've got to live a life of philosophy with no evil. You know, I look at my life and everything I've endured, and I'm telling you, I'm God's favorite. Like, he loves me the most because I am now in a position to where I look at it and I go, oh my goodness, you know, it's no longer, I don't hear myself saying, oh, I have to give up and be, you know, surrender and give it all to God. No, God says, my child, I've given you every tool that you need. Now I leave it in your hands. And it is up to you to understand that, just like Job, you will not die. The evil might come towards you, and it might break you, and you might lose everything, and your wife might abandon you, and your friends might just completely walk away. But if you never forsaken me, I promise you'll receive so much more than even being combined valued. And if people could change their perspective and realize that the adversity they face is essentially a reflection of their purpose in life, and that they're still alive, I think I would be excited to turn the TV on. I haven't watched TV yet. We've literally 314 days. I actually have a count of the last time that I've watched television. 314 days.
I love it.
Because it's just so toxicating. I don't want
it. It is. So, you know what? I'm so thrilled that we're doing this on streaming media.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's streaming, but you know, it is Facebook. It's all good. And so, you know, I really just want to say that, number one, you just quoted my favorite story of stories, the story of Job.
I'm telling you, I've got to be related to that man.
Yeah, well, then that's why I feel a kinship to you, you know. You know, there you go. Well, you know, I could definitely visit with you all day long, and I just want to make sure that you've been given hugs. You have, you know, you did unconditionally, your apple of God's eye. I mean, you know, that is just amazing. And then of course, Jason, you know, he said this a little while ago, and yes, and you've been, I think that we started everybody got so quiet because they just started listening to you, and it's just like, you know, that was pretty powerful. And I want to thank you for being so raw, so vulnerable and so honest, because that's the thing I see in you, my friend, my dear, my sister, that you have this amazing soul, and you're so young. and yeah, I know, and that's so young. I mean, like we were talking before, way back there, that I could be your mom. I wouldn't mind being your mom. I'd love to be your mom, because uh and I'm not saying how old I am, because it's all a state of mind, but the math works. So anyway, whatever. But you just keep going on that path that you're going, because the things that you are doing, I know we didn't go into that property in Canada that you are, that is so exciting. But do you want to end on that? Because that's a high note. Let's do that.
October. Stephen Bryant had came into my life. It was kind of funny. I was on this, I was growing my network, and he happened to also be John C. Maxwell speaking certified. And I added him, and we get on this phone call, and we're talking, we're laughing, and he's talking to me about how he's really into the space of philanthropy as well as servants in the for women who've been domestically violated and they're fleeing from domestic violence and homeless. And I'm telling him, oh my goodness, you got to come to these events. And out of nowhere, Waypoints I've been so honored to be a part of Waypoint, of helping collectively gather $11 million worth of sponsorship to build a 45 building facility in Waypoints, Canada, that's going to in-house women who have fled from domestic violence and abuse and their children, and another facility for the homeless. And we have centers and property all over Waypoints, Canada, that will essentially help these traumatized victims. I kind of, the way the planning went was took a mimic of the Underground Railroad and how the system works of helping these women. And now, come to find out, pretty soon these women, we've got a government approval with Canada, whatever they can afford to pay for a house, the government will pay the difference. So we're not only
this is news to me. I hadn't heard about that. Oh, this is exciting.
There's a lot of greatness happening with this. But no, Stephen Bryant is officially a part of Coach on Fire. He's aired on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, and he essentially is the executive shareholder that will be a part of Cutting the Red Ribbon. It's now in October, housing women. And not only that, going through the process of healing. The Rachel Foundation will be partnering alongside that to go through the trauma. And then from there, the housing development. We've got a few contractors that essentially said, look, we want to give money, but, sometimes we don't know if that's where the money goes. And I said, fine, right. Then just build the houses yourself. And they said, done. So now we've got that going on. And essentially whatever the cost is and what they can afford, the government will compensate and pay the difference. So it's gone from something, that was an idea to the red ribbon cut in just a little under 30 days.
Wow. It just seems like it was yesterday that.
I know.
I mean, that blows my mind. Now, are they still naming it what that they were going to?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out.
Okay, well, just tell them. So.
Well, we'll share that when it gets dropped. But essentially, the street, by name might one day be a street name. Who knows? We'll find out. And you never know.
I think that is just so awesome. I mean, this is a way to end this show, because you are out there with you have multiple nonprofits that you either have or you support. You have spent time with me and helping me to get going. You have helped others that have a heart for giving to get going. You have helped your family. You have helped this program that is now going to be having a ribbon cutting in such a short time. It's just amazing. I can't even believe it. It just seems like yesterday. Wow. So, I know, it's so exciting. You are everything that a service hero is all about. And your father, I know he's always proud of you. I know it. And I know you can't always talk to him because of what he does and where he goes. But I just know that right now he's got to be feeling something inside of him, knowing, yep, that's my daughter. She's cut from this cloth, and I'm damn proud of her. And I'm proud of you too. You just are an amazing woman.
Thank you. You made me cry. Stop it.
I know I don't usually get like this as weepy, but you know what? You really are. You're stellar, and I just love you, and you know that. And I am so thrilled that we were able to honor you today as Service Hero number 100, Riddell Gina Mackey. You are everything that a service hero could ever be, and such an example to those that are around you. And we have a yes, you are right here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. You got my mind going here, you know. And so as we end today, I want to say thank you for your service.
Always. Thank you.
And if you can be in LA on Saturday, I have a feeling
we'll be there on the 22nd. So essentially, I'm gonna have to sell everybody to come to drive down on the 21st, which shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the event that Dee Dee Wong invited me to, and the team. So it won't just be
great.
Me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, a whole group of millennials that I've been so blessed to kind of.
I can't wait to meet them all. I can't wait to meet them all. I just can't wait. And so everybody that's been hearing about me talk about the Service Hero program that's going to be highlighted at the Spirit Summit next to LAX on the 21st and 22nd, we will really be highlighted on the 22nd. Would love for you to be there. It is going to be an amazing event. It really will. And there are so many service heroes that will be coming. And what I'm seeing happen is that the people that have these, your kind of a giving heart and willing to get out there and work harder than many others, they're the ones that have been highlighted. And when you get those kind of people meeting each other, it's amazing what will happen. And I'm already starting to see that. It's incredible. And it's a byproduct that I wasn't expecting, but I'm so thrilled to be seeing.
Exactly. And perfectly. If you help enough people get what they want, they will not only do so, but desirably make sure that you get everything that you want. And if that's not the truth, I don't know what is.
Absolutely. And so, my dear, I want to say thank you for spending so much time with us today. You are beautiful inside and out, and I can't wait to see you until on Saturday. So I will see you then. I love you too. I will see all of you tomorrow. Until then, bye.